have figured out what my issue with this movie is. I figured out why it took me until the climax to fully get into it and embrace the characters. Sort of embrace. So, first, Fantastic Four First Steps is the latest and the last Marvel movie that's going to come out this year. It's about the Fantastic Four. In the movie, they have to save Earth from Galactus and the Silver Surfer while they are trying to balance a new addition to their family. It is directed by Matt Shackman. It is written by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, and Jeff Kaplan. It stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn. The movie is ultimately good, but it takes a long time to prove itself and show itself as worth the price of admission. Like I said, it wasn't until the climax that I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. I'm interested in what's going on. I'm rooting for them. I am not someone who's like all in with the Fantastic Four just because it's the Fantastic Four. I have not been waiting for them for their interest into the MCU. So like I didn't go in with a lot of generosity. Like just based on the trailer alone, I was like, this looks dry. This looks, someone on Thread said soulless, and I agree, soulless. And for the longest time during the movie, that's what it was giving. And I'll get into why that was for me. It is shot, it's the retro futuristic thing, which is unique. It's not like Marvel doesn't, the MCU doesn't typically play with like the look of the films. You have the Afrofuturism in the Black Panther movies, and this one is another one that's unique. The retro futuristic thing didn't do it for me the way the Afrofuturistic aesthetic worked for me. It also was kind of like a radio show. It was like an episode, which again is unique. And I liked the voiceover aspect, but it also kept me a bit distant from the characters and from what was happening. Let's talk about it. So I'll talk about the good first. 10, 10, 10s across the board for the character of Sue Storm. Again, Sue did not grab me during the movie, but she is who ultimately pulled me in to the storyline and into what was happening. I love the way, first of all, I love Vanessa Kirby's voice. I've never seen her in anything else, but I really love her voice. I love the display of Sue's powers, from her, making her belly and organs like invisible so that we could see the baby, to her, of course, the fight with Galactus, to her still helping the team as she's in labor. That was like very impressive and very cool, making the ship invisible so that they can do what they need to do. Her giving birth in space, like there were a lot of like great things that happened with Sue. Her yelling, I know, and turning invisible that was perfect, because it's like, as Franklin's mother, she could not just have a normal conversation about using her baby as bait to attract and lure a like galactic monster. So that was like a very powerful moment. Her relationship with Reed is very interesting. Just the differences between them, and I want to see more of that difference. I'm basically interested in the chaos of their relationship. I think Reed was very well done. I enjoyed the way that Pedro played him. I enjoyed the way that they wrote him. Where I connected to Reed the most as a character was the scene between him and Franklin, when he was essentially realizing like you can't calculate your way into understanding your child. Like this little human is basically a foil for Reed, not in the sense of like what he becomes, but just like he is a child, he's a baby. You can't math your way into understanding your kid. Your kid will tell you who they are, and that is a long journey, and you just have to be along for the ride. And it was great to see that control, him realize that like he doesn't have control over Franklin just as a human being. I don't fault Reed for thinking the way he did and considering the possibilities that he was considering, but I am like, bitch, you scary. Reed is giving me, if he can think it, he can do it. If he can think it, he is willing to do it. And I can easily see a world where Reed would give Franklin to Galactus just because Galactic asked, and then just accept living out his life as a sad, tragic man who had to give up his baby in order to save the world. I can absolutely see him doing that. And so that is the tension I'm talking about. I want to see more of him just thinking of the darkest way to solve a problem. And I want to say Vanessa Sue, the tension that, because when she says like, sometimes the way you think hurts me, yeah. And I think this shows how much Sue accepts him for who he is and for how he is, and that she does love him. Because it takes love for her to be able to, get all tingly again for that man after he proposed what he proposed. So enjoyed that. Someone on Thread said that they don't have chemistry. I agree, they do not have chemistry. I just accept that they're together. I will make a separate video, but like most of the official Marvel couples do not have chemistry. But those are the two standouts, Sue and Reed. Johnny, like, he showed some smarts. People are glad he's not portrayed as a playboy. I really don't care. I had no stake in it. I did not enjoy that they made the Silver Surfer cry and that she needed a pep talk or a special talk or a little recording from Johnny to like reconnect with her humanity. Ben, I enjoyed the scenes of Ben with them and taking care of the baby, the love stuff. I know with Ben, it's always a matter of like, feeling like a man or whatever. I wish they would have like played with like body dysmorphia, something interesting. I didn't really care for the romance. Now, as for why it took me so long to connect to this movie, the Fantastic Four are absolute commodities on Earth 828. And this is threaded throughout the movie. They are branded. They belong to the public. There are toys about them. There are cartoons about them. I'm sure there are movies about them. How about that for Inception? Like, they belong to the public. Their image belongs to the public. It's shown as admiration. It's shown as them being pedestalized on Earth 828. But with what happens when the answer to the big issue is something that would absolutely hurt them, the public shows a level of carelessness towards them that is alarming. Sue gets pregnant and it's a public spectacle. People are writing newspaper articles and they're on TV just speculating about like, what is it? Is it a boy or a girl? What are the powers? And it looks nice and it seems like love, but imagine the sense of ownership you have to feel over a group of people to look Reed dead in the face when they come back and he says he asked for our baby, and to be like, and did you get, like, why am I looking at the baby? Why didn't you give I really don't understand why didn't you give the baby? Imagine the sense of ownership, to be pissed at them for not being able to give up their baby that still smells like placenta. That is evil. It's similar to Wanda being willing to sacrifice a whole town, Westview, I think it was called, in order to have a family. Or like being willing to sacrifice like multiverses in order to have her kids back. That's one person doing it. The idea of the whole world or even a whole city being willing to sacrifice their heroes like happiness and being like, you serve us, like you should be willing to sacrifice anything for us or else it ain't real. That's very interesting. It's very dark, but unfortunately that is not the story of the movie. I wish it was. It's water off the Fantastic Four's back. They're not really affected. Their heart isn't broken. They're actually very understanding. I think Reed says they're just scared. Vanessa gets angry, but to me, them having no emotion, and then Sue goes and gives them a little pep talk, ABC Family, like, I won't sacrifice the world for my kid, but I won't sacrifice my kid for the world. It just to me shows how disconnected they are to the world that they live in. So I'm looking forward to them joining the main Earth because I like my heroes to be affected by the public. Like the mom who went up to Tony and blamed him for her son's death, even though it wasn't his fault, and that drove him to do something. I prefer my heroes like that. They are a spectacle, so I felt like I was just observing them, so I did not connect. I give this 3 out of 5 because that's what you get when it takes me until the damn climax to connect with what the hell is happening. But I do want to see more of them. If you've seen Fantastic Four First Steps, let me know what you think.